Hello and welcome back to Hammond's Upholstery. Right, this is a continuation of what happened last week. So we're on with the sofa. Let's take you for a walk through and show you what's going on. Yeah, there's the dog in the van in his happy place. Can you see him? Maybe round here is a bit better. Hello, Taka. Yeah, he's quite happy in there. Take him out for a walk in a minute. He prefers being in there than being in here with me. So we're on with that sofa over here. Yeah, I've just shown you around. So in the last week's episode, we show you putting the arms on and so on. And now I've got the back cut and ready to go in. So I'm hoping to get the back and seating in relatively short succession. So let's get on with that now. Cup of tea on the go and a bit of flapjack for my breakfast. All right, let's get on. So I've marked the centre of the back on the bottom and over on the top. The fabric has been cut and joined, so it's very wide at the moment. We're trying to get this purple stripe through the centre. Excuse me, I shouldn't have started eating. I'm munching away. You're probably picking up anybody who's got a phobia about people eating is probably hating this at the moment. Right, let's get this the other way up. Got this fabric on upside down. That's better. How did I know it's upside down? Because I couldn't match these stripe up. So we'll try and get these stripes to match up, but more importantly, your eye will be drawn to this. So if I've got it slightly not matching each side, then that's fine. It's this stripe that I want matching through horizontal through the back, because that's what eye is drawn to from the customer's point of view. So come down a little bit. So as long as it needs to come down a little bit this side as well, we're golden. All right. Okay. That's all good. Let's do the top. Put a staple in the top just to make sure that's centralised. Shut my workshop door. Try and keep what little heat we have in. So there you go, spot on. Brilliant. Staple in the centre there. I'm going to ease the fabric across to the end, and I'm going to pull the side up to get the stripe in the fabric in the same place over the top. Same this end. Okay. Little gentle pull in the centre, gentle pull at the end where the other staple is, because we don't want to distort these lines. Fold back this salvage that I'm going to cut off at each end will get reused either on the outside back or the seat, potentially outside back, because they're quite big pieces of fabric. So we need to leave enough salvage on here that I can staple it off on the outside back rail. Okay. So hopefully you saw that. So I need to cut this. So I need enough to go through here, about 7 or 8 inches. So I'm going to cut this through here, and that should give me enough to staple that off. And like I say, this will get used somewhere else on the job. Outside back perhaps, or the seat, but it generally gets used to extend the outside back if necessary. So cut number 1. So that's the bottom of the back. So I made a V cut to go around the bottom rail. So the fabric can go through the top of that bottom rail and then underneath it. Do the same the other side. Back when a colleague and myself were doing sofas for the National Trust, a little bit similar to these, we could, between the pair of us, upholster from a frame, so there's no foam or anything on it, from a frame 2 a day, including the cushions. So that's pretty good going. But that was doing the same sofas day in, day out. The only thing that changed was the fabric. But now when I'm doing a different sofa each day, and I'm having to strip the old fabric off and run a business, it takes a lot longer, unfortunately. So I'm around the back here stapling off the bottom of the back fabric onto that back rail. Okay. Go to each end. Now make the cuts at the top. Similar process to the bottom. Making a cut to go into the centre of this rail here. Then I'm making a V so the fabric can go around the bottom of the rail, around the top of the rail. Cut off a bit of the excess at the moment and tuck that back through. Tuck the fabric. We don't want to create any major lumps or bumps. We want to be able to pull the fabric tight. We don't want any cuts showing. And there you go. It's annoying when that happens. Run out of staples. Just when I've got it pulled nicely. Let's do that again. Ease that over with palm of hand, a couple of staples in there. Same on the other end. Okay, ease the back over, put a bit of tension in it, but these backs are on very loose webs. The seat cushions, or the back cushions, sorry, give all the support, but we don't want it too firm to make it uncomfortable. Even though this particular customer has opted to have the firmest cushions that I would ever put in something for the seat, the back cushions are still the fibre, is a standard fibre back for comfort. I would hesitate to say the reason why the customer has opted for the firmest seat cushions is more for ease of getting in and out of the sofa, because it has got quite a low seat. Right, that's the top and the bottom stapled off. Just give the sides a gentle pull on that fabric we left on. Staple that off on the back rail. That just had a customer come in to pick up their cushion cover. Right, trim the back off. That's the inside back in. So the seat is very similar to the inside back. in its process of upholstering it. This fabric's very good because the joins are non-invisible when they're in it, so long as you've done a half decent job of doing it. So the seat, we're just going to put the original fibre seat back in, this fibre here, minus the staples that have been left in it. Yeah, I'm getting distracted. So minus the staples left in it, and we'll do the seat very much in the same manner as the inside back was done, and then it's the outsides to go. So let me crack on, finish my tea, and we'll be back very soon. Okay, confession time. Well, sort of. The sofa you've just seen me working on, I finished and delivered it back to the customer. So we got to the point where the seat was going in. I said, the seat go in, etc. But we have another one. This is the other sofa. For the same customer, same fabric. This is just a two-seater. So I'll endeavour to not get carried away and try and record me doing the outside arms, outside back on this one for you. But there's been a couple of other bits, that quick jobs that have come in that needed to be done. Quite an interesting one over here. I think I'll explain it to you. I'll spin you around and show you. Right, these pair of chairs I did for the customer pre-Christmas now, and she was happy with them, not a problem at all with the upholstery and so on, but she said it sounded like a crisp packet when she sat on them. There you go, that's the noise. This plastic bags were over the inside back when I ripped them up. The original manufacturers put them on. Now, the reason they do that is to make it easier to slip the cover over, dependent on the cover. The problem was, it made the back sound like a crisp bag when she sat on it. Now, I'd never noticed it. I hasten to add that I think that it would have always sounded like it had a crisp packet in the back of it, and perhaps the customer neglected to tell me that, because perhaps she thought it would charge her more to sort that out. But all it is these bags were over the inside back. So unfortunately that meant I had to unpick the backs and remove the crisp packet to put them back together. So there you go. I didn't notice it, but then again, I didn't sit on the chairs when they were done. So I'm not making excuses. Perhaps there's a lesson to be learned there, that I need to sit on the chairs when the customer's here and take a bit more notice of them, because I would have picked up that noise, and perhaps then the customer would have felt, yes, I need to point that out to him. Anyway, simple fix, onwards and upwards. We've got a wood butcher coming in this morning, or for those not in the know, carpenters. And we've got all these cushions here and bits of foam for a client's kitchen conversion. I was supposed to be doing it pre-Christmas, but there you go. I don't know what the delays were, but they're turning up now. I'm not hoping they're not wanting them tomorrow, expecting them tomorrow. Not my fault it's been delayed. And there you go. So anyway, I've got to get on with them as soon as I can. But in the meantime, I will get on with this chair. Kettle's just finished boiling, as I'm sure you heard in the background. So I'm going to have a cup of tea. I'll get the inside arms, the inside back on this and this seat, so we've just got the outsides to do, and I'll come back to you when I'm doing the outsides. Hopefully then you're seeing the process with these sofas right the way through. The other sofa's gone into the customer's house. They're very happy with that. Fortunately, the cushions are sewn up for this, which is all me do. So this should be a relatively quick job to do now. Okay, back to it. Right, okay, so we're up to where we was with the three-seater, I believe. So I'm just going to start doing these outside wings. These are just cardboard wing that go on. These marks here are for my reference of the stripe on the fabric. Let me show you on the one I've done on the other side. There you go. So we can get this near as damn it matching through here. So we're going to do the same with the other side. That just needs pulling off there. So let's get that done with this one. Let's get this lined up. Let's do it this way. Make sure we've got enough to go over the edge on both of them. Stripe there, stripe there. Turn that over. Straighten it up a little bit. Right. Now I've got 6mm, actually I think they're less than that, I think they're 3mm staples in this, because we don't want the staples going through the cardboard, because if you put your hand on it you're going to feel it. Very cold in here again. I don't know what the temperature is. I'll check my thermometer in a bit. Don't know if having the thermometers in here is a good idea, to be honest. Gives me something to watch and refer to. I think it's cold, whereas if you just get on with it. Right. So, okay, just checking this from this side. So that's that. So let's spin the camera around and I'll show you pinning it on. With this fabric, originally they had some clips on the back. Just let me see if I can find you a clip. There you go. Had these panel fasteners that went through the cardboard. You can see the holes on the facings, which I've yet to do. And then they get tapped on from the outside, which these are knackered because they've been in and on and off. But with this fabric being a chenille with a very loose weave, I can just pin it on straight through and it doesn't damage it. So let's turn the camera around and I'll show you that. Right, there you go. Unplug my staple gun, pin gun on. So we should be able to line this back up. Happy with that. Straightforward. Few pins. Hold it on. There you go. So you can see the little indents where this gun's been. So I'm just going to tease the fabric back up where they are with a skewer. So needless to say, I wouldn't do this with all fabrics. Things like cottons and stuff like that, anything that you're going to leave a hole or mark in, you obviously don't want to do that. Mind you, having said that, I have had some furniture in here previously from manufacturers where you have seen that they've done that. I think it's bad form, to be honest, but I've also seen them where you can actually see staples where they've just stapled it round on cheaper stuff. So do the other side whilst I'm here. So that's the outside wings on. Outside arms are next. So I need to turn the piece of furniture over to do the outside arms. I've got the fabric cut, so I'll come back to you in a little bit once I've got this spun round. Outside arms, got width of fabric cut, been out the way. This is our outside arm. I'll show you doing one of them. So first off, I've got to pull the inside arm over and staple it on this rail here, the arm rail. It's important that I keep this arm rail nice and clean and free of obstructions, because any lumps and bumps make it harder to put the outside arm on. So when I'm ripping it up or re-stuffing it, I try and keep the foam minimal on this rail underneath here and nice and clean when I've ripped it up from an upholstered piece of furniture. Keep it clean, get a nice flat surface. It just makes life easier doing this. So we're going to make sure that we put both arms on the same way. I think I've marked the top. Yep, there's the top, and we'll get these lines through here matching. Now, I've probably explained this before, sometimes it's difficult to do that dependent on the fabric, because you may end up having to put the fabric on upside down to get a continuation of the pattern. There's only so much you can do, really, but at the minimum I try and get the stripe lined up somewhere. So 2 staples holding it into place, making sure I've got plenty in each direction. Vulcanised cardboard back tacking strip. And as always, I run out of staples just at the wrong time. Let's try that again. There you go. A bit of cardboard isn't long enough because that's left from another piece, an offcut, so to speak. So we just cut myself another piece to add on to it. I've had to pay for every centimetre of it, so and use as much of it as I can. So these outsides didn't have any canvas, any additional foam or anything on the outsides. It was just the fabric straight over what you see here. I'm just going to add a bit of 1/4 inch foam to the bottom edge of the frame and the front and back side. Just because I think that's the minimum that should have been done anyway in the first place, but as manufacturers will save, if they can save 10 pence, they will. Oops, missed that one. There you go, that's better. Just had a customer in complaining about his piece of furniture he bought from one of the big warehouses here, and he's complained about the cushion feel to them. Without any joy, they've just said to him, well, you sat on the piece of furniture in the showroom and that's what it is. Bearing in mind, he's had the sofa a year now, but he's not happy with the cushion feels. And as I said to him, I said, well, I can supply you replacement cushion feels, and gave him a price. And he said, wow, that seems expensive. I only paid £500, £800 for the sofa. I said to him, well, that's why you're having to replace the cushions, isn't it? Because the manufacturer has produced you a cheap piece of furniture. Now, I've nothing against cheap pieces of furniture. I understand there's a reason for them. You know, not everybody can afford to spend a lot of money on a sofa or want to spend a lot of money on a sofa. But you cannot expect to purchase a cheap sofa and expect it to be the same quality as a quality, more expensive piece of furniture. And the explanation I gave to him was, well, you can't buy a Rolls Royce for the same money as a Ford Escort, and you certainly can't expect it to be the same quality. And he accepted that, and perhaps he'll have a better understanding that he didn't get a bargain, he just got a cheap piece of furniture. And the fact that he's got to replace cushion feels so quickly is part of buying a cheap piece of furniture. Having said that, it's not always the case. There's plenty of places out there selling you cheap furniture, like a lot of products, at a premium price because they can. It's not easy, I accept that. Postman's been. I can hear the dog woofing in the van at him. It's cold in here, but he's nice and snug in the van. It's got a couple of blankets in there. It's plenty warm enough. So, that's the outside arm on. I haven't done this part here, because I do that when I do the facing. It's just awkward to do it, so I might as well just leave that till I get to put the facing on, and the furniture's that way round to do it. So I'll do the other side arm, do the other side outside arm, and then it's outside back time. Back on with this. I spun it round, the outside back is cut, so you can join me whilst we put the outside back on, then we're on with the facings. I've got one of the facings done, but you can watch me do the second one. Okay, sorry, I'm a little bit flustered at the moment. I've had an influx of people this afternoon with lots of questions, and it's fried my head a little bit, so I need to get back on with this. So what can I say? We're going to try and get, well, we're not going to try, we are going to get this stripe here, the purple stripe here. We're going to get that to match with the outside back, but most importantly, we've got to have this stripe matching the inside back down here. So we've got two positions we've got to try and accommodate for. We've got to get the stripe in the centre, and we've got to get the vertical stripe, and then we've got to get the horizontal stripe. So I'm going to just eye that up into the centre there, and I'm going to try and just put a temporary staple in here for the horizontal stripe, because then I've got to cut the fabric to suit. So that's that stripe there. The centre stripe isn't necessarily going to be matching at this point, but I'm not concerned about it at the moment. I just need to work this out because I've got to back tack this edge. So if I cut this fabric down, and we'll use this stripe here, this line here as my guide. By the time I back tack it, these lines should be pretty close to matching. The sofa is going up against the wall, so you know it's probably never going to get seen, but that's not the point. We always try to give our customers the best product I can and service. So that's that trimmed off. So by the time I back tack this, we should be pretty much the right position for this horizontal line here. Okay, so we can take these temporary staples out, which were just there to hold it in position. Okay, now we can get this stripe to match. I'll put a couple of staples in this and then fold it back and just see how we're doing, because we can adjust it. Or say I can adjust it. I can see here that this weave is out on this fabric. I'm having to pull that to try and get the weave to match at this end. So that's a restricting factor as well, to trying to get lines and stripes all matching. Sometimes the fabric won't allow you to do that. Okay, that's all looking good. Just needs to go over a little bit. Okay. Fine adjustment. And we back tack it the same cardboard back tacking strip, the vulcanized back tacking strip. So I've just put a few staples in here, minimum staples that I can. And again, because I want to check how I'm doing for matching the stripes up. Don't want to have to take them out, but we put as few in as possible just in case I do have to take them out. Cut that off there. Let's fold this back and have a look. Okay, so once that's given a tug up, we've pretty much nailed that. Okay. We have to allow for stretch as well. So the top edge here has got cardboard back tacking strip. The sides are going to have the gripper on them. First off, we need to get this on. We'll put a couple of bits of the 1/2 inch foam on, just through the centre rail, bottom rail, and then we'll get that pulled up, and then we do the ends. Okay. Got a centre mark? No, we've got no centre mark, so I need to mark the centre. Okay. Get that pull up in the centre. Oh, run out of staples at the right at the wrong moment again. How annoying. Right. Tack strip. Does it need cutting down? No. That's a good thing. Fold this back here. Get the tack strip in position. And if my calculations have been right, we should be able to fold that, and these lines should be pretty close to matching. Well, there you go. I'm happy with that. Making sure that I'm striking these barbs in square, otherwise they won't go into the frame, they'll bend. Hopefully you can see there, we've got these lines matching nicely around here. Not on the wings, but we can't match it everywhere, or, well, I suspect I could, but it's a bit overkill, and it would mean a lot more fabric being used. And a lot more time as well. Right. Both sides. Get some tension in this. Side to side. So pull in this way. Get some tension in and then knock the barbs in. Pretty secure once it's on. There you go. So outside, back. Done. the excess off on the top corners because that's where the feet are, or the feet get threaded in. We don't want any lumps. Okay, so I'll get this onto the floor and then we can get on with covering this one to match this one, which needs damn it, and get that attached. So back in a minute. So let's crack on with this facing. So we're going to position it in the same place on both facings. They're just going to be mirror images of each other. So I've changed my staples in my gun. It's a more suitable size for this, which is 6mm. So do the straight edge first. Just putting that on the other side now so we can try and keep the horizontal lines horizontal. Cut off the excess because it just gets in the way. So, I can do it. I've made a cut in here to relieve it so I can pull this round here. Not that really makes any sense. I don't know how to explain that any better, to be honest. You'd have to be here for me to show you. But this is never... These videos is always not really meant to be instructional. I'm not here trying to teach you how to do it. I'm showing you what's going on here in the workshop and how I like to do things. I'm not claiming to have all the answers. Right, piping. Now, we've got to make sure that the piping sits over this edge, otherwise it's pointless if you can't see it. So it's a bit trickier to put the piping on, lay the piping on to here. So I'm making it hang over the edge and stapling the salvage on. If this was corded braid, then it would be referred to as the flange on the edge. Sorry, flange makes me think of something else. It's probably a very local slang for it here in the UK. Anyway, well, it's not been a dull day. In phone's been ringing, which is good. Customers or inquiries. A couple of customers in, unfortunately. Cost restrictions prevented them from going ahead with things like cushion orders. Lots of the customers that myself, and I'm sure lots of other upholsterers in the country, have customers that are looking for a repair, or it's a cost-saving exercise over buying a new sofa. They've got a sofa they've had 10, 15 years. They're thinking about replacing it because it's looking tatty, but they want to look at, is it going to be cheaper to have it repaired than buy new? And unfortunately, with the cost of some furniture out there now being that cheap, by the time we've used quality materials and done the job properly, I might add, doing it properly, there's a lot of people who do bodges, which will come into somebody's budget, but the durability is not there. Do the job properly, it quite often prices us out, especially when you can buy a new sofa in the UK for less than £500. So that's both facings done. I'm going to pin these to the frame, put the bottom cloth on it, feet on it, job done, and I'll come back to you and show the finished product. I might even put the cushions in it for you. Okay, it's done. Let's show you it. Let's turn you around so you can see. Okay, all done. Got a stripe matching through the centre. The stripes are horizontally. There are arm caps to go on, but I can't be bothered to put them on. So there you go. Now we've modified this sofa. If you'll recall, the back cushions are now just a plain back cushion instead of looking like two back cushions, two parts. It's now one part. And the seat cushions are now a lot thicker than the original ones. So there you have it, all done. So that's another week. Tomorrow I've got a cushion to do a repair and a customer coming in to collect those two grey chairs, but I should be done. So I hope you enjoy these little walk around, see what's going on in the upholstery workshop, see what's going through. So please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye for now. Got a customer just coming up. That's why I'm being quick. See you in the next one. Bye bye.